Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you are a brand new subscriber or a brand new viewer. My name is Kyle and today we're going to be talking about a very underrated thriller from 1986, The Hitcher. This tells the tale of a young man traveling across the country to deliver a car to California. He picks up a mysterious hitchhiker who turns out to be an absolutely psychotic madman. And the question is, can he escape the killer hitchhiker? The Hitcher is a movie I wanted to review on this channel for two specific reasons. The first one being is I recently rewatched this film. I hadn't seen it in maybe 7 or 8 years. I was in high school the first time I saw the film. And the second reason is this is a movie that is barely talked about at all. And I definitely want to try to talk about some films that are lesser known to try to encourage people to see films that I think are very underrated. And this is a movie that I think is extremely underrated. Now the good news is, if you guys are looking for the movie, you can watch it right here on YouTube. And I'm going to leave the link to watch it below. It's in full 1080p in anamorphic widescreen, the way it was meant to be seen. The film was directed by a man named Robert Harmon, and unfortunately, his career never really took off after the events of this movie. However, he created a short film a few years prior to the film that inspired Rutger Hauer and numerous other cast and crew members to sign on to do this movie. The screenwriter of this movie, his name is Eric Red, and he went on to write the script for a film called Near Dark, another very underrated film directed by Catherine Bigelow. Now, I do plan to keep this review spoiler-free because my whole goal with this video is to try to encourage you to see the film. And I know there's a lot of people who have probably never even heard of the movie before. So I don't want to get into spoilers or anything like that. From scene 1 to the end of this film, it is an absolutely relentless, tense, and chilling thriller. This movie honestly takes you over. You feel captivated and just like you're a prisoner just watching these events unfold. And it's largely thanks to the incredible cinematography by a man named John Seale, who eventually would be the director of photography for Mad Max Fury Road. It is absolutely blood-soaked in the mid-1980s, and if you guys know anything about me or have been on my channel for a while, you guys know I absolutely love the 80s. I loved it when it was not even popular to love the 80s, and now all of a sudden we're just constantly trying to reference the 80s. In terms of the cast, C. Thomas Howell is great in the film. His character's name is Jim. C. Thomas Howell will always be known to me as Ponyboy from The Outsiders, but in this movie, his performance is probably the better performance of the two, if I'm being honest. Just like with The Outsiders, he's playing a teen, and he actually was a teenager while filming the movie. Now, this movie could definitely be criticized for not having a lot of character development, and I can understand that. At the same time, however, the dire situation of Jim's character is that he is constantly running away. He doesn't have time to fully explain himself or fully go in depth about his life. He is literally on the run for his life. Quite simply, the fact that he picked up an absolute psychopath is definitely a reason enough to care about him in the situation, because he is a young man who made a mistake and now he has to face the consequences of it. But the question is, what's going to happen when these two men face off, and what is that outcome going to be for Jim's character? The movie also co-stars Jennifer Jason Leigh, one of my absolute crushes for sure. She is very cute in this movie, as she always is, but I definitely like her performance, and I do think she has great chemistry with C. Thomas Howell. But all that cinematography, all the other performances, this movie is nothing without Mr. Rutger Hauer. Rest in peace to you, sir. You were a fantastic actor. His performance in this movie is one of those performances that is 100% memorable. From the first time you see him on the screen to the end of the film, he is just somebody who just has a presence. He has a force to him. And that is thanks in part to the fact that Rutger Hauer was a very masculine-looking man. He's very rugged. He was also very tall, very imposing. The way he can stare at you with those blue eyes, it's just completely cold and deadly, which is what the character is supposed to be. I love relentless chase movies. I love movies that thrill me and they don't have a second to breathe. You are always on edge, just like how the characters are. If there's a chase movie in which there's just a lot of breathing time or characters are kind of sitting around, not really doing anything, it just bores me when you're making a movie like that. You always want the characters to be in danger, and you want the audience to feel like, wow, something can happen at any moment. And this movie has that in spades. But I will forewarn you, this movie is not for the faint of heart. And in fact, critically speaking, the movie was not a success when it came out. it was trashed by a lot of people, especially Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, who just detested this film. They absolutely loathed it. And I, for the most part, disagree with them. And I say for the most part because there is an aspect of the movie that definitely is a bit flawed, and that is the relationship between the Hitcher and Jim. It's never really properly developed, and sometimes that can be visually conveyed, but at the same time, it feels like they removed a couple of scenes where exposition was needed to further develop the characters. But honestly, guys, for just over a 90-minute movie, this film will have you on the edge of your seat. It's the kind of film where everything around you just disappears. You are just in the movie, unless you don't like thrillers. Because if you don't like thrillers, stay away from this movie. But if you are someone that wants to have a really damn good time with thrills and definitely some scary moments, this is hands down the film for you to watch. I strongly encourage you guys to watch the film because if you haven't seen it, this is definitely a great ride for you, especially during Halloween season. If you have seen the film, please let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts are. And in the meantime, guys, do not forget to subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. All the links to my social media pages can be found in that description box below, as well as my business email and website, kjgpictures.com, also in the description box below. I thank you all so much as always for watching, and stay tuned.